one of your earth emotions.
Glad I found you.
Let's get married.
Delete the wife.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Deep Space Love, the Star Trek podcast where a married Trekkie couple talk about love in all its forms across the final frontier. I am one half of your host, Joe Praska. Nicole is on this episode, but it is just me recording this brief intro here. We have kind of a special episode for y'all listeners today. Recently, J.G. Hertzler, who famously portrayed Marok in Deep Space Nine, published an autobiography called Confessions of a Klingon Linebacker. It's a pretty engaging read, pretty quick read actually, but it's a pretty fun one. So we actually reached out to Mr. Hertzler to see if he'd be willing to sit down with us and chat about his book, his work, and just anything else. And he was more than happy to. So what we have for you today is our conversation with J.G. Hertzler. We talk about a number of topics, again, from his book, but he tells us lots of stories about his time on Star Trek, his time working in Shakespeare on the stage, and even some of his time as a younger man as a government worker. We cover a range of topics, and it's a really fun conversation. So without further ado, here is our conversation with J.G. Hertzler.
I read everything you've written, Joe.
Really?
No, I haven't.
Oh, say what?
But you have a reference to, according to N.M. Praska, it was a citation about something, and I can't remember what it was about.
Oh, an article probably that you wrote, The Women at Warp, right?
Yeah, there was.
That's what it was.
That was it. You wrote that article, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote about Worf as a father and single fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And another one about Riker.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. You found that, yeah. That's been out there for a while.
Deep dive,
That is a
actually.
deep dive.
Anyway, can you see this, by the way?
Harvard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go there.
It's okay.
But
Show support, though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would like to I mean, I am so freaking angry on an hourly basis about seeing what's going on
Right.
In this country is astounding. All we can do is emphasize our belief in what this country is supposed to be about every chance we get.
Mm-hmm.
And but I have no real physical, financial, political. I have no way to affect except by just talking. It's like you. It's hard to say how many people's lives you touch by doing this right here.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's like always just been special for us is just like the connections that we make with different people, and like, you know, building bridges and just like talking to people who are like, you know, different perspectives on different things. It's exciting.
Different voices.
Yeah, different voices. Exactly.
Yeah. When I lived in Minneapolis, I lived right on that lake in downtown Lake across from the Walker Arts Center. There's a little lake. It's a tiny pond.
We have like 10,000 lakes. You got a lot of them, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, you got a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
The land of 10,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, well, John, thank you so much for being willing to join us on the podcast. Like it's truly exciting to be sitting down with you. We've watched you on screen, and I got your book right here. I read through that. Like it's.
Oh, you have it.
Yeah. I got a physical copy. Yeah.
Excellent.
Just to start out, we like to talk about, you know, just different forms of love on this podcast. We usually ask everyone, like, what do they love or why do they love Star Trek? So, you know, it could be just what do you love about it, or, you know, just in general, why you love it.
Marok doesn't love anything. And it really is a reflection. I mean, he's as an actor, for instance, when I was in the Scottish play at the Guthrie, you had 3 months. You maybe rehearse for, you know, a month and a half, and you do the show for a month and a half. Mm-hmm. 3 months working on one role, and then it's over and it's done, and you go away. Everybody goes away. With Star Trek, I was fortunate enough to be in 4, 5, 6, and 7, 4 seasons, and playing the same character. I did a couple of other characters, but they're relative to Martok. They're not important. But they began basically to write for me.
Yeah.
Because there was Martok, and then there was me, and those things eventually, if you get a chance along as an actor to work on something for 3 or 4 years, it comes together, or it doesn't. Mm-hmm. But if it does, it's remarkable and it's wonderful. That I love.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about your book, actually. Yeah. So I was reading through it, and I kind of really Confessions of a Klingon Linebacker, for anyone listening who hasn't picked it up or listened to it yet.
It's filled with lies. Really, lies, I tell you.
All lies, right? I like the framing of it, though, like that you kind of like framed it like beginning and like you're writing to your daughter. I love that. It's really sweet. I love your voice is very clear with it. I feel like you know, oh wait, where was I? Like I just talking to you, I'm like, I already feel like that's your voice as I read through it. Did you always, when you were planning to write this, did you plan to try to make it like more of a formal biography, or you're like, I'm just going to write it like just like me? That's and like as a in this way, was that your plan initially, or did it kind of like come to be organically?
Yes, the plan was Hannah does not. She was born when I was 50 years old, so she was a half a century of me that she never experienced. You know, so I said maybe I can fill you in with the relatives you never met. My father was long gone at that point, passed away, and a lot of the experiences that helped create me and therefore have an effect on you, Hannah, happened in that first 50 years of life. And I really would like to share those with you. And at the same time, I was sharing them with everybody else who might have any interest whatsoever. She's my daughter. She has to be interested. She's 25 now.
So she's read it, yeah?
Oh, yeah. She read it. I said, do me a favor. Would you edit this? Because the editor, I paid somebody considerable amount of money to edit the book, and it was awful. And it never got to be clean. It's still way too repetitive, way too there's things that are wrong. But I sacrificed that for the sake of being conversational.
Sure.
But she had every not three. There was very seldom. There were only like 2 words without some sort of copy editor's mark on it, upside down schwa or something, blah, blah, blah. She just destroyed it. I said, well, I can't make all those changes anyway. I said, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. I'll fix the things that are just awful, like spelling. What's her name? Who did Don't Cry for Me, Argentina? Who's the actress? Oh, Lapone, Patti Lapone.
There you go. I was just about trying to look it up.
I spelled her name wrong. Patti Lapone is this powerful, fabulous actor, singer. And I said, if I don't get her name right, if I don't correct that, the Lapone family will be, will pay me a visit. So I better get those things. Anyway, that was my purpose in writing it, trying to tell her about my life before, so that she knows a little bit more about where her father's coming from.
I love that. And much of the book tells about your work on stage. Seems like there's a lot of actors who have performed on stage, and then also were on Trek. What do you think about being on stage translates well to being on a show like Star Trek?
Something you also might have noticed is a lot of my work on stage was in Shakespeare. I barely ever did a decent American play I did some new plays and whatnot, but so many of the actors on DS9 and other Star Trek, I think, were steeped in Shakespeare. And they were the aliens, almost always the aliens, Armin and Well, Kirk was Shakespeare
Yep.
in Canada. But I think this is the way. I mean, I teach a course on Shakespeare that's basically a. There are two. For me, there are two aspects of doing Shakespeare. One is the truth, and the other is the grace. There's the truth and grace. The grace is the verse, the poetry, the beauty, the language, and the truth is Stanislavski, basically. Who am I? What do I want? What's standing in my way? How do I go about getting it? All those questions.
Yeah.
And if you do just the truth, if you're able to accomplish the truth without the grace, you get a decent performance, I think, but it might be boring as hell. But if you do the grace without the truth, it's basically it's a song. It's a song without depth. It might sound beautiful, like the difference between Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen. Not the difference between the two, but the difference that the two represent versus somebody like now I got to get another name. He was famous for being a sing-songy Shakespearean actor who said, "Oh no, no, King Lear." Anyway, he was famous for being a melodic, mellifluous, beautiful voice, but it just has no impact to me. The beauty is there, and that will have impact. But Patrick and Ian McKellen, if you see Ian McKellen's piece on the Scottish play Tomorrow and Tomorrow, he does a wonderful class just on that one speech. Wow. And that's why I break Shakespeare down to. Well, you didn't ask me that question. The question you asked was, why are there so many Shakespearean actors in Star Trek? For instance, a Klingon, it is a stylized way of speaking. Any of them, almost any of the alien races are somewhat stylized. With Martok, it was, no. I would never pronounce things the way, with getting the whole diphthong in and things like. Anyway, it's a little flowery. It's lifted, it's elevated speech, but it still has to be riveted in truth, and it still has to. You have to be able to make the audience feel that this is the way we talk, and it sounds completely fine. It sounds, it's completely acceptable as communication in this scene and whatnot as a race. And I think most of the people that are playing the aliens on Star Trek have a lot of Shakespeare in their background, because Shakespeare is a lifted form of speech. It's elevated. It's not normal. And it certainly doesn't sound like most everybody on the television news,
That's a good point.
Anyway, so that's my own theory. That's why so many actors are stage trained with Shakespeare.
That's fascinating. We've asked other Star Trek actors in the podcast that question. It's kind of interesting to hear the takes,
the different perspectives. Yeah,
exactly. When you got the role of Martok, I in your book you talk about the folding chair story, which I think we've actually talked about on this podcast before. It's a cool, classic, famous story. But you kind of had previously on TV played a lot of bad guys, and even Martok at first, he's the changeling, right? But you kind of have to you evolved him into such an interesting good guy character who could be seen as a bad guy to I'm sure other people that as a warrior he's met, but to us as viewers he's a good guy. He's a mentor figure, but he has kind of that Klingon edge to it. How did you develop that over time?
My dad had a hell of a temper, and so do I. Now that I'm getting on in years, I don't open the gates to let that temper out too often, because I'm in no position to back it up anymore. I never got in fights, but I played football, and as long as there are rules, I can be brutal. And as a defensive end, outside linebacker, your whole being is focused on stopping that other person from moving,
Mhm.
and it's brutal. I really had no particular athletic skill like a true athlete, but I just loved to hit people as hard as I could with my forehead. Ira Bear said to me at one point, he said, we're going to bring you back, because it was only a it was a 2-episode
Yeah.
character, A Way of the Warrior. And
Yep.
and that was it. I was supposed to be turned into protoplasmic goo at one point. But he said, we figured out a way we can bring you back, because it's interesting. Finally, Worf can have a friend.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no kidding.
I
After all this
came
time.
back, yes, as sort of a sounding board for Worf. And then they kept writing it and writing it and writing it, and thank goodness they did. They did, and I'm forever in their debt. But they liked something about the character and kept writing to sort of emphasize whatever it was that they liked to see him do, and so I was lucky.
Oh, I wonder if it's that Shakespearean aspects
That
that you were
lift.
just talking about, that lift, but with truth behind it. I would imagine that was
Absolutely.
something that they
Well,
saw in the
the
character.
one thing I know what I was going to, I started a long time ago to say this, but I got lost. There was a speech in Once More Into the Breach, where I would, John Colicos, Kor, who was the first Klingon ever to appear, Kor came on board my ship, the Rotaran, in hopes of earning an honorable death, because he was near his end of a life, and he just wanted to go out fighting honorably. And he said, "So, will you allow me to?" I said, "No, I have no intention of doing that. Basically, go F yourself." And
Yeah.
people said, "Why?" Even Worf said, "What is the problem with Kor? Why will you not allow him the honor of an honorable death?" And I said, my father, character, Martok's father, Uthar, said the only dream he had for Martok, his son, was to be an officer in the military, in the Klingon military.
Yeah.
That was his only thing he ever said. He really wanted that to happen for me, because apparently I was born in garbage dumps. I mean, the house of Martok is probably a cardboard box in a so and I passed all the tests except Kor. Kor said, "No, you don't have noble blood. You can never be an officer." So he denied, and then my father passed away. So he denied my father the only wish that he ever had for his son. And I would never forgive Kor for that. So I said, no. That's why I didn't sing the songs at the end, Koye Keles Buglot. I didn't. I was not on his behalf.
Yeah.
And I hold a grudge about as well as anybody, almost Martokian. But anyway, that's what that was all about. And the purpose of that story was I said, I need to add a line. I need to add that line to bring that whole speech around to the end. And so he said, "Well, you have to talk to Ron." I said, "Can I call him?" So I called him. This is the Hollywood thing. There's a phone in the soundstage on the wall, and and it's right to the writers. And so I said, "Ron, this is JG. it's a beautiful speech. This moment with Kor, I understand it completely, but it doesn't. It leaves it hanging, and I'm wondering, can I explain by the last line? And I will never forgive him for that. When I'm telling Worf why I won't do what Kor's asking, and he said, "Sure, it's a great line." You know, I forget what it was, but it's that it needs it. Good, go for it. And that was I think that was the only thing I really ever changed. But it centered it for me, and it was very clear that I was talking about my father, not Martok's father, but my own. And anyway,
that's good.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from Martok, we kind of mentioned you played some other roles in Trek. Was there any particular other role that was fun to play?
Oh, they're all fun. They're all fun. But to have a whack at it for 5 years is special fun. But one was Laws. Laws was a shapeshifter. And I said, well, I can't do anything near my Martok voice. I don't want them to think it's Martok and not out of uniform. What could I do? Oh, I know. I'll just raise the register where I'm talking, and I'll put in, this is the depth of my work as an actor. I'll put in large Tiberius Kirk pauses. So, and see if, then to my dismay, everybody said, "Oh no!" As soon as you started talking, I knew it was you. I knew it was Mark. I said, "Oh, okay."
Must have been fun though.
It was a lot of fun to do that, but it was just cheap. The only fun, the first thing he did was go into the bar room area on board ship, and where every regular was there, every guy, from including Sid and Nana and Worf, and everybody was there. The characters were there in the bar, and I promptly took it upon Laws took it upon himself to offend everybody.
That's right. Yeah,
that's right.
One by one. And as we were leaving, Renee was walking me out of the bar. I said, "Well, I think that went very well, don't you?" And I loved Renee. God, did I love Renee. Renee Auberjonois was perhaps the most famous physical comedian in the American theater. And besides being a brilliant actor in every way, he could do, basically, he worked at all those places that I worked earlier, on stage, ACT, the same places in San Francisco. And he was just an incredibly trained, talented physical actor. I mean, amazing. He was buried under all that latex and whatnot in a strange
exactly, yeah.
So you couldn't really see it, but he would always, if you go back and look, he's always in some sort of strangely odd, twisted pose as he listens or something.
Yeah.
That's him. That's Renee. And man, I miss him.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been rewatching some of the Deep Space Nine episodes, and it's been particularly notable to see like his specific performances, even in like tiny sequences or tiny scenes, and just like he really just puts a lot out there and brings a lot out of these small scenes.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious. We talked a lot about the acting stuff. I know, like playing a Klingon, you do a lot of makeup and prosthetics, but you also played like what was it, a Hirogen in Voyager?
Yes.
Was the makeup process for the Hirogen like worse or longer than the Klingon one?
So
much worse.
The only part of my body that was exposed were the palms of my hand, and we were shooting in June. and it was hot. And
Ugh.
the good part of that is they pay you. They pay you money. And so, yeah, I can, as long as I can move, I'm doing it. So, yeah, I loved Hager.
Interesting.
Hated the Herodian because I got to wrestle with 7 of 9, teach her the finer points of jujitsu.
That was a cool episode. The Rock was on that one,
I
right?
never had a thing. Yes, I never had a scene with him.
Did I forget that?
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
It is,
That's too
'cause
bad.
I love The Rock.
If you were asked to be part of a new Star Trek show again, would you still be down to put on makeup? Or even like the Klingon makeup?
I don't think I'd need it anymore. I
Mm.
think I'm there. Yeah, of course, I would do it in a drop of a hat. It was one of the most wonderful experiences. You know, a life in the business of theater is you have families that you work with. It's your working family, and some people spend
Mhm.
50 years in an office, and that's their family. Some people come and go from it, but that's basically the family. We have a family. The shows that I've been a part of are really families for 3 months or 4 months, maybe a little longer in some cases. But I did a show called By the Bog of Cats in San Jose, and Holly Hunter was the lead and on stage, and she.
Awesome.
I talk about there are 2 people that are the best actors I ever worked with. One was Holly Hunter, and the other was a woman you've never heard of, Emma Bauer. But those 2 people are just the bravest souls. No choice is too big or wild and yet absolutely based in truth than what those 2 could do that I've seen them. Anyway, Holly, we opened the preview when we did the show in San Jose. The preview night, first night, was 9/11. Tuesday,
Oh, wow.
9/11. And she was crazed. She said, I can't do it. I just can't. The whole thing depends on me. And the way the world is right now, how can I, and the rest of the cast we were all standing in the basement there, and it was at San Jose Rep, and saying, "Oh well, dang." And so I said, "Well, just use it, Holly." I'm telling Hunter to use it, and she said, "Oh, Hertzler, I love your ass." So we did the show, and it was really bizarre because the air was filled with the worst attack, in a century.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Holly was fabulous, and I went to see her when I went to see her in London. She just came running out and jumped right on me, and I said, "Fine, why don't you put me in the damn show? I'd like to be acting in London." Anyway.
That's special.
It is nice, yeah. Are you still in touch?
No, it's another one. No, I just lost touch. It happens,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask you just like briefly about you wrote 2 Star Trek books actually. That Left Hand of Destiny.
Left Hand of Destiny. It always seems to be the right hand, but what's on the left hand of destiny? And
well, you explore in a duology.
Yeah.
Did you have to get like? What was that like? Did you have to get like super steeped in the lore and mythology, or did you just already have that
Well, I had some
kind of
of
knowledge in your head, like
just by osmosis? I had to pick up some, but one of the things I can't stand about Klingon books is they're so filled with every 4 words there's something you have to look up. What the hell are they talking about?
Yes.
And that doesn't suit me. So I said, I'm not going to be. It's not going to be dependent upon Klingon vernacular. They'll get the message. And so that was 98, I think, and my daughter was born. I got the book written without being edited yet, and then my daughter was born, and that my main writing time was from like dawn until 12, and my daughter was born, and she was then. It was her time between dawn and 12. So I didn't get nearly as I couldn't write as fast. I didn't have as much time. I couldn't get things done. So they asked me
Understood.
Can you use a writer to come in and work with you, another writer? And I said, of course. And that's when Jeffrey Lang came on, and everything that I had done outline wise that was good, he made better. And everything that was bad, he covered it up. So it was good.
Yeah.
Jeff. And I don't know where he is. I suppose he's still writing and living in LA, but lost touch with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, make connections with so many people, and
Right.
yeah, I mean, any everyday relationship is
It's hard to hold on to
hard.
because it's
Yeah.
intense.
Staying
I mean,
connected.
you're intense. Think of the people who play lovers. Which was never. I was either a thug, a king, or a crazy person, usually. And so I got very seldom got it. I was not lover material, except for Petruchio. I loved playing Petruchio,
Mhm.
and he's sort of over the hill lover. But I had a wonderful Kate, and that's something else I was going to say. John Colicos, Core. I wanted to give him something on the last day. I wanted to make a gift of something. So I was in a bookstore, old used bookstore. I forget where it was. It was in LA, I guess. I was down there, yeah. And he said, so I opened this book. It's a 1952 yearbook of Broadway. And I'm leafing through it. And there's John Colicos playing Petruchio in Taming the
Oh, wow.
Shrew. And
Wow.
and I'm thinking, well, this is perfect. And then I kept reading the persona, dramatis personae, and guess who was playing Kate? His Kate in Shrew, 1952, Broadway.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
I don't think I know.
Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
this guy,
dramatic pause was worth it.
the guy I was working with, had worked
Wow.
opposite Katharine Hepburn. So that
Amazing.
kind of thing where you're reaching out and you're touching the golden age of Hollywood, of filmmaking, of this business, was an unforgettable, wonderful thing about this business.
Incredible.
Wow. Did you grab the book then?
Yeah, I gave.
Yeah. That is a cool gift.
Yeah. It was. That was a wonderful episode. I adored it.
It's a great one.
Now, how long did it take you to get started with this show?
We got like 20 some episodes now, 30 some 33.
30.
But we started a couple of years ago, and it's just like, so we have two small kids, and I think for us
each have a full-time
and full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's just like, we got to find time to do it. And so it's kind of been once a month.
Wow. And you're working full time as well. You're a scientist. Is that right?
Yes.
Scientist, based on the word scio, SCIO, meaning to know.
Yes, to know.
So you people know things. You scientists. What area?
I'm a forensic scientist and I do fingerprint
Oh, man.
comparison.
You've seen some shit.
I've seen some
Yeah,
interesting things,
bet.
yes.
Wow. And you're just a writer. Is that right?
Me? No, well,
That's
I actually
really
do
nice.
that. That is really nice. I do love that. That's actually also a side thing.
Another side thing.
I'm a teacher. I have elementary 4th grade teacher.
Fourth grade. I still remember my 4th grade teacher. Mrs.
Look at that.
Keys.
Yeah.
Yes, she had the keys. Mrs. Keys. I grew up in, as you know, I was in 5 different elementary schools for the first 5 years.
It's a lot.
Because my dad, he was in the military and we moved around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Born in
Right.
Georgia, and that's my claim. I want to go back and run for office in Georgia and just take what's her name, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oof, yeah.
because she's an. Don't get me started.
I know. I was like, see, you're stopping
Yes.
yourself. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So being an
I know.
activist, though, so we could talk about activism. We read you were arrested for standing up against fracking in the Finger Lakes region.
Jamie and I, Jamie Cromwell, we were demonstrating. It's one of those things where you're armed locked and you can't, and the trucks can't get past you.
Yeah.
They had a stupid idea of using both Seneca Lake and Cayuga Lake underneath them for like 8 different layers of rock, 8 different spaces. What would you call it? Not caves, caverns. Levels of 8 underneath the lakes filled with salt. They were salt deposits. And they get all the salt out, and they have these open rooms supported by pillars, which they leave and the ceilings, like right here. It's really oppressive to be. I went down there, and but they had a brilliant idea of storing fracking residual water, which is filled with poison. In these underground open spaces, these caverns that leak completely into the lake, and we were saying, what the hell are you thinking? And
they were thinking they'd get away with it.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have to build tanks. They wouldn't have to build storage.
Mm-hmm.
It was astounding. And I worked for the Nixon administration for a year and a half of misery. But it was my first job out of college.
Wow.
And I was in the solid waste business, literally recycling paper. And the reason I quit was I was riding the garbage trucks around at night. They all operate at nights, and nobody will see the garbage trucks going into the agencies. They'd pick up bales of paper, but they would always not pick up certain kind of computer paper, cards back in the day. And I said, what's the matter with that bale? And then he said, a guy would say, no, somebody else gets that. I said, oh, okay. So I called a GAO audit, because that was the high quality paper that if the government resell that, they would not be as nearly as money poor as they were.
Sure.
So a guy comes into my office. So I called a GAO audit, government accounting office.
Yeah.
And a guy comes into my little cubicle, and he says, "Are you Mr. Hertzler?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well," and he shut the door. He said, "Did you call for an audit on the waste paper recovery?" I said, "Yeah. I mean, we were doing better in 1942 than we are doing in 1972. He said, "Well, there's not going to be an audit." I said, "Yeah, I just got off the phone with the guy." I was 23. I just got off the phone with the guy. He's coming. He starts next week. No, John, there's not going to be an audit. I said, "But why not?" He said, "Because it's connected." I was 23. Connected to what? And he said,
Oh my
"It's
God.
Oh boy.
connected." I said,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Oh
oh."
man.
And that's when I decided we can't even keep crime out of the trash. What hope is there for this country? So I said,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I rented a canoe, went out in the middle of the Potomac, and just drifted down the river for a while. It was anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Oh
It's an
wow.
appropriate response.
I probably
honestly.
Yeah.
did. I put that story in there, didn't I? In that book, I think I did. Maybe
I
not.
put that one in there. Yeah.
Anyway,
It's a fascinating.
That is a good one.
Wrap it up because I don't want to keep you guys up. I mean, I really could talk. I mean, I was asleep when this began. You've awakened me.
Okay. Well, it's later for you on the East Coast, right? Like it's an hour
Yeah,
earlier
it's
for us. I think,
10:30,
technically, but-
10:35.
Well, to wrap up, is there anything you're working on now, or you want to like direct people to go? I mean, we'll definitely link your
Several
book.
things. I'm going to be
course.
doing a.
Yeah, it's
No. I'm going to be doing this one man, this Mark Twain show. I think the first gig is near the end of August over in Lansing. But that's a pretty safe place. I've done it before, but it's been 4 or 5, 6 years since I picked it up, and I said there's other stuff to talk about now. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to Bonn, Germany on next Tuesday. I do
Oh, wow.
conventions, still.
Oh, yeah.
And knock on wood, I have a couple of auditions hanging out there waiting to hear back. I haven't heard anything.
All right.
So I doubt if I've got any of that, but
Are you still teaching drama?
it's just the Shakespeare piece, because that's my sort of breakdown, truth and grace for people to hold on to. Anyway, so I'll probably do some more of that, but for the most part, my wife has MS, so I have a bit of a time crunch. I'm the caregiver, and it's tough.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
Well, that Mark Twain show sounds awesome.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's got some amazing. I mean, he wrote some things I've never heard anybody else do.
Cool.
There's pieces. And have you ever heard of Sunrise on the Mississippi?
Heard of it? Yeah.
It's a wonderful piece
Yeah.
about dawn on the river.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. And then there's all the political nonsense and humor that is wonderful, all kinds of stuff. But it feeds my need to say something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For
Well,
sure.
thank you again.
Yeah, thank you,
for
John.
Your
This was-
time.
this was great.
Thank you, guys. The pleasure's mine,
excellent
believe
evening.
me. And
Yeah.
go Harvard.
And thank you so much for listening, everybody. It was a really fun opportunity to chat with J.G. Hertzler about all these different topics. We're glad we got the opportunity. If you are interested, if you like what you heard, please feel free to check out his book, Confessions of a Klingon Linebacker. It is available where you can find most books online. And it's a fun read, like I said. Until next time, love long and prosper.